Willow Creek Springs presents Healthy Living with your host, Joe Grumbine.
Hello and welcome to the Healthy Living Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Grumbine, and today we're going to record episode 15 of Overcoming Cancer and Other Obstacles. And today we're going to talk about the role of cannabis in this assault on the squamous cell carcinoma. I was diagnosed on October 15th, and now it's December 2nd. And 15 episodes. We've gone through a month and a half of this battle, and I am sharing with you in real time what's happening, how I am going from a surgeon telling me that I need to have radiation or he might not be able to operate to get this giant lump out of my neck. And I don't want to have radiation. So I am going out this in a multi-pronged attack, and I'm sharing with you all the little details about this. And as we're going forward, and as I'm successful and beat this thing, I will have laid out a roadmap of how I did it, and it'll be a roadmap that others can follow. I've been talking a little bit about just interacting with people and all the people that are meaning well and want to help, but have conflicting viewpoints on what is. Makes it really difficult. A bit ago, I did a peyote ceremony, and I'll be talking about peyote and its role in this healing and overcoming these obstacles. But today we're going to talk about the cannabis side of things. So if I seem a little discombobulated or a little disconnected, it is likely because of the amount of cannabis I am taking now. So prior to this diagnosis, I had stopped taking cannabis because I was working with other plant and animal medicines, mostly combo, which is derived from frogs, and peyote, which is a cactus. And I've been working with some energy work, different energy workers. I've had Reiki sessions from a few people, and I've had a magnetic session from one person, and some energy work from another person. And the thinking is that when you're working with one thing that's not like another thing, sometimes it's best to just do that one thing. So for example, I know after working with peyote for, I don't know, 7 or 8 years now, that it does not like to work with other plant medicines, especially cannabis. For whatever reason, cannabis seems to get along with everybody pretty good, but peyote has got its own set of rules, and it doesn't like to commingle your body with cannabis. So out of respect for the people that I'm working with and the medicine that I'm working with, I chose to abstain. Now, I will be talking deeper and deeper about my life's work with cannabis, and we'll get that whole story out of me, but it's not going to happen here and now. This is specifically just as cannabis is applied to my battle against squamous cell carcinoma. So Saturday night, we did the peyote ceremony, and I said, by Thanksgiving, I'm going to start once again. Now, remember, I've been a couple of months without cannabis, pretty much without it at all. I think I've taken a couple of hits off of a joint here and there, but that's really about it. I've put it on topically on the lump and surrounding areas, but generally topical application doesn't penetrate the blood-brain barrier. You don't generally feel it in your head, which is my conflict with the other plant medicine. So I said, all right, after 4 days, after not doing the peyote, I think I'll be ready to do it. And my mission this time was to go straight at it and get up to the recommended dose of, 500 or so milligrams in a day as quickly as possible. Last time I kind of slow stepped it up and tried to step it up as good as I could. And I was taking capsules, and capsules seem to last a long time in the system, and they're like a big giant ocean liner or a freight train. Once you feel it, it's not going to go away anytime soon. And as I've been working with these medicines, I've been looking for clarity, looking for my own body and, the divine spirit within me to show me some guidance. What do I need to do? And as I was saying before, I've got one guy who's a vegan and he's telling me how I need to get off of all. Actually, I've had a couple of people tell me I need to get off of all plant or all animal products, and that animal products are the problem. But the very same person, at least one of them, who was saying that was saying, well, I should eat a bunch of fruit. And I'm sorry, but what I know about cancer cells and its appetite for glucose and other sugars, I say no. I would rather take my chance with the meat and the animal proteins than to be start putting a bunch of sugars into me. And that's just part of the deal, you know. I had one guy, I'm working with a bunch of different or several different systems that are frequency based. And one guy that was here a few days ago, his recommendation to me was you need to get away from all this electricity and just, stick a rod in the ground and that's all you need. I'm thinking to myself, well, that's all fine and dandy for you, but I'm trying to cure myself of this thing. And I believe this rife frequency and some of the other electronics that I'm working with are helpful in that. And so I'm just having to pick and choose. Everybody has the supplement I should be taking. Everybody has the thing I should be doing. And now it's funny, I did notice that people that are finding out that I'm dealing with this, their new question is, how are you feeling? And it's funny because most of the time in life, people ask, how are you doing? How are you? What's up? What's happening? And very seldom have I ever been asked, how are you feeling? But I've noticed in the last week or so, as more and more people are finding out I'm dealing with this, that's the question I'm getting. How are you feeling? And it's funny is the truth is I feel fantastic. I haven't had this much energy in a long time. I have had this much strength in a long time, except for, of course, now that I'm battling this the cannabis along with everything else. Um, and even some of the people that are asking me are people that I know that have health issues. And the chances are I'm actually feeling a whole lot better than they are. And so I don't know, just noticing things, noticing things. So when I decided to come back and take the cannabis, I have made up previously 300 milligram suppositories. And so the quickest way to get the most amount of cannabis in your system is going to be a suppository, and you have a little waxy, uh, little bullet-shaped thing, and I make them out of MBK, which is a like a fatty acid base, and I also make it out of cocoa butter. And basically, you put the cannabis oil into that, and you let them get cool in the fridge, and you take them out and you plug them up your bum, and they basically melt in there and get absorbed. And the way that they get absorbed, it doesn't go through your GI system. So the compounds aren't getting concentrated in your liver and then hit your brain with a vengeance. So by doing it this way, I can avoid a lot of the crippling high that comes with it. And, not that I haven't enjoyed a whole lot of crippling high in my life, but right now, with all the work that I'm trying to do and all the research I'm trying to do and the progress I'm trying to make, I just need really as clear of a mind as I can get. And I need to, have the focus to make it work. And so starting out with the 300 milligrams of the suppository, I think that's a solid approach. And then the next step I was doing was I had taken some 1-to-1 drops, 1-to-1, 1,000 milligram drops. And because they recently, in reviewing the PET scan and everything, they've determined that the cancer's in the far back of my tongue, like back where you can't see it. And it's also this giant lump in my neck. And so I thought about it, and I think it's some of the clarity that's come to me from working with the plant medicine. But instead of taking capsules like I was doing before, I thought, well, why don't I just take the oil, my drops, and that way, two things I can do. Number one, I can drip the cannabis infused oil directly onto the area. So in the past, I've always taken the oil, the FICO or the Rick Simpson oil, the whole full extract cannabis oil, and just put it directly on a spot. We always call it spot remover. So if you got a little mole or something on your skin that might be cancerous, you just coat that thing with the oil and let it sit on there, and you just keep putting it on, and it will literally take this thing off and just kill it. And I've seen it happen many times. I've done it to myself more than a few times. And I thought, well, okay, I can drip this on there, and I can also control the amount of high I'm getting a lot easier than a capsule. So just taking a few drops at a time, giving it plenty of time to react, letting yourself feel it and then feel it come back down. And as you're coming back down, you can hit yourself with a few drops. And I don't know, so far I'm only a few days into it, but it seems to be a lot more manageable. And then I thought, all right, well, I'm taking this oil. What else could I do to this oil? And then I thought about anointing oil that I make. And I says, well, I make that stuff for breakthrough. I make it to um, go after, jammed receptors to break through when the cannabis oil isn't working well enough. And it seems to work pretty well that way. So I said, why don't I add a little bit of my anointing oil to this? And then I thought about that. I says, well, what makes the cannabis oil so good? I mean, the anointing oil so good. And part of it is the fact that I use nanoparticle THC. And so I says, all right, I'm going to take me some of that nanoparticle THC and I'm going to add that to my oil. And then said, what else can I do? I says, well, I could add a little bit of black seed oil because as I understand it, that's another one of these valuable tools for killing cancer. And I said, all right, so we'll add a little black seed oil. And I'm also going to add a little flax seed oil. That's another known aggressor to a cancer tumor. So last night, I put all these ingredients together, and I didn't even really calibrate it. I just did this by feel. And then I added a little bit of 4-to-1 oil to it. I don't know why. I just felt that that was something that needed. And let it spin for a few hours under, I don't know, about 100 degrees Celsius heat. And felt like it was good mix. Put it back in the bottle. Took a few drops. And I took just the amount that the conical tip of the dropper holds. I'd say it's probably no more than 3 or 4 drops. And I put that to the back of my throat and dripped it in there. And I did that 2 or 3 times, which would be less than a quarter of a dropper full for sure. And I woke up in the middle of the night just blasted. And even this morning, I went to go on my hike and I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to do that. And it was a little bit of a rough start. So it definitely had an impact. And even though it's going to move through my body quicker than the capsules, it still had some hang time. And I'm sort of paying attention to how long it takes to come on and how long it lasts. And that way I can get a better gauge of this. But meanwhile, I really believe, I feel like it's having an impact. And I spoke with Florena, who's a medicine woman I've been working with and just become so very close with, just a wonderful human being. And I said, I want to charge these tools that I'm making, and she gave me some pointers, and I purchased a handmade Native American basket, and we're going to be doing some praying over that and creating a charging post whereby any of the oils and tools and things that I put in can be charged by and give additional potency. So I'm really, I've always made products with intention. I've always prayed over my work when I do it, and this is going to take this to another level. Working with the Native American energy, the language, and the prayers. And I've been really connecting a lot to that energy, even though, as far as I know, I don't think I have any Native in me, but I am very connected to the ways and the values and the people. So that's the second thing. And then, I've been putting this salve that we make, and I even had a plan to make an infused oil because I've got this little pad to put castor oil on, and was gonna make a special oil to put on that, but I'm probably just gonna take that oil that I'm putting in my drops and use that topically as well. Then it came to me, I says, why do I not make a lotion? Instead of just an oil that has some absorption or a salve that has some absorption, or even putting the oil on a mat and just keeping it attached to your skin, you get absorption. But I says, I went through the trouble of getting and making this nanoparticle oil, and for the purpose of having a supercharged product. But I've never really used it because I lost that market when our recreational law came into play, and I was working under the protection of the medical law, and the recreational law basically shut that one to hell and left me without a market. So I says, well, we'll just put it up on the shelf and, friends and family and whatever. And then it hit me, and why don't I do this? And then so what I did is I took my formula that I use for the first response ointment, which is an incredible formula, and I modified it a little bit. And I substituted some ingredients like black seed oil and milk thistle oil and neem oil. And I added some essential oils like ginger and sage and um, green tea extract and a few other things. And I said to myself, if I can make this lotion that's potent enough and I can just keep applying it, it's going to absorb. And if I'm using that nano oil as an active, it's going to get in there. And then I thought, once I get these things charged with the prayers and energy, I don't know. I really feel pretty good about it. So I was up this morning. Last night, I actually put all the ingredients together, weighed them all out, and got everything in place. And this morning, when I went off on my hike, all I did was turn the cookers on, the water or double boilers that I work with. And when I came back from my hike, everything was all ready to mix together, and got this beautiful lotion. And so we bottled it up, and I've been putting it on all day. And I'm telling you, I feel it. I feel it working. It's it's a great formula, and I really have a feeling that with this new community, this new business that we're working on, I think we're going to be able to get some of these good medicines into the hands of the people that need them. So on that note, also today, I filed the LLC paperwork for uh, Willow Springs Wellness LLC. That's the name of the new business. And we got the website, Willow Springs Wellness LLC.com. And we also got Willow Springs Wellness CA.com. And I'll be putting a website together. And I'm pretty sure we're going to start doing intakes and really start this thing out. We have what we have right now. We're building practitioners. I've only spoken with a few people right off the bat about this, and everybody's excited. People want to participate. It was just brought to my attention by somebody that I work with that there's a lady who does stem cell work for cancer patients, and she's interested in participating or getting some of our products. And I thought, well, maybe there's a play here to integrate her into our new clinic. So a lot going on every day, just about. I'm going to continue sharing this story, but cannabis is back in the picture, and I'll probably do an episode, maybe even two, about my whole walk with cannabis, since I was, I don't know, about 13 years old, all the way until here I am, 58. So I thank everybody for your support. And we got some great guests that are getting scheduled right now. We got a couple of doctors and a couple of scientists, and more and more people that I respect their opinions are finding this show more valuable. So thank you all for your support, and we'll see you next time.
This has been another episode of the Healthy Living Podcast. We produce this show so that people can share their stories, people that have overcome obstacles, people that are undergoing obstacles. We're building a community of health-minded individuals. If you're interested in supporting the show, please leave a review on the platform you're listening to it on. If you're interested in becoming a guest, please send an email to itsjoegrumbine@gmail.com, or you can send a note into the notes section of the podcast. All right, well, thank you for supporting this show, and we hope you've enjoyed it.